WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. A line of strong storms has been blowing through the Golden Triangle this afternoon, prompting warnings for the very latest. We turn things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson with a first look at our forecast. Keith?
Well, Joey, I got to show you this. This is a very impressive looking shelf cloud near the Caledonia area. Look at that thing rushing out from a severe warned storm. We got this from Facebook. Dave, thank you very much for that. Now, that storm in question moving through Becker, Aberdeen, Amory right now. Heavy downpours, yes. We still have this warning that goes until 6:15. However, wind speeds we are sampling are lowering in the atmosphere, so it looks like the storm is weakening, but still some heavy downpours, thunder and lightning. That's the only strong or at least severe warned storm now, but pockets of heavier rain lifting across the area. A lot of this fades away this evening, Joey. I'll be back with your full forecast in just a few minutes.
New at 6, Mississippi's congressional delegation is asking President Trump to consider another federal disaster declaration in the state. Severe weather and flooding occurred on April 13th and 14th. A deadly EF2 tornado hit Hamilton on the 13th. The delegation is asking the president to fully consider Governor Phil Bryant's request for a major federal disaster declaration in our area. The request would cover Clay, Etowamba, Kemper, Monroe, and Oktibbeha counties. There is no timeline for FEMA to respond to the request. New developments in a story we've been following for months now out of Webster County. Former Webster County Chief Investigator Landon Griffin pleads guilty today to 2 charges. Our Quentin Smith was in the courtroom when Griffin went before a judge and has more.
It was inside this courthouse behind me where former Webster County Chief Investigator Landon Griffin pled guilty to 1 count of embezzlement and 1 count of transferring a stolen firearm. After today's guilty plea, the district attorney recommended that Griffin spend 10 years behind bars and 5 years of probation after he's released. Griffin joined the Webster County Sheriff's Department back in 2016. Now, you may remember, Griffin was first arrested back in January, not long after being fired from the Webster County Sheriff's Department. Griffin's plea comes on the heels of former Webster County Sheriff Tim Mitchell's guilty plea just last week. District Attorney Doug Evans says this sends a message that no one is above the law, not even those wearing a badge.
Anyone hates to see a law enforcement officer charged with committing a crime, but you hate to see them commit the crime to start with. It doesn't matter who you are, you can't break the law. And what I'm hoping and what this should show is that everyone's going to be treated the same. Whether they're an officer or not an officer, you have to follow the law.
Today's guilty plea is done with an abundance of humbleness. We realize that what's been done, the plea today was taken from the bottom of the heart.
Now, Griffin, along with former Webster County Sheriff Tim Mitchell, will both be back in court on July 30th for their sentencing date. Reporting in Ackerman, Quentin Smith, WCBI News.
Some of Griffin's charges were dropped in the plea deal. Former Webster County jailer Santana Townsend was also charged in the investigation. She goes to trial in January. The Sheriff's Department was also on the agenda at the Webster County Board of Supervisors meeting today. The board took up the resignation of former Sheriff Tim Mitchell and appointed a new sheriff. Our Cash Matlock attended the meeting and has more.
I'm here in Webster County where the Board of Supervisors unanimously accepted the resignation of former Sheriff Tim Mitchell. The board reappointed Andy McCants as sheriff effective immediately. McCants will hold that position until the 1st of January.
Sheriff McCants was first appointed as sheriff by the court in January. However, that ruling was voided after Mitchell's official resignation on June 12th. McCants says he does not plan on running for re-election in August, nor is he endorsing any of the candidates.
I'm staying completely neutral in this, and I wish them all good luck.
Okay.
My only thing is, I hope that Webster County gets a good sheriff to continue on.
McCants will be the Webster County Sheriff for the next 6 months, and he says he has a few plans for the department in that time.
Nothing special. I'm just trying to do the best I can for this county, reorganize the Sheriff's Department, and do the right thing for the citizens of Webster County.
The decision to reappoint McCants as sheriff was also unanimous.
Reporting in Webster County, Cash Matlock, WCBI News.
Primary elections will be August 6th. In other news, Lowndes County Sheriff Mike Arledge says his jail has the fewest inmates since he was elected 8 years ago. Only 57% of the jail is being occupied, and there's been a steady decline in long-term stays. Our Jory Talley joins us live in the studio with more on the numbers. Jory.
Arledge says he believes there are many factors behind the decrease in population, but even though he has more empty beds right now, he knows that can change at any time.
Our jail facility can hold 288. We've been averaging the last probably 10, 12 years around 250. In the last year or two, we got down to about 200, and then lately I've checked it and we're running around 165.
Sheriff Mike Arledge says he believes several things are playing a role in the smaller number.
Some of the different legislation that we've had, like House Bill 585, which made a lot of felonies misdemeanors. Now, it's got good points to it and it's got some bad points to it. But as far as the people that we're keeping long periods of time, we're not seeing that now.
Sheriff Arledge is also seeing a positive trend, fewer repeat offenders. Executive Director of Parole to Pride, Sharon Jones, believes organizations like hers are helping with that.
The goal is to give those that have re-entered back in society with a challenged background, is what I said, but to reduce recidivism is to give them an opportunity for employment.
She believes that opportunity alone can make a big difference.
Because it gives them hope. And also it gives them an opportunity, especially if it's for employment, and it actually gives them their money in their hand that they can pay their restitution, probation fees.
The sheriff says the Mississippi Department of Corrections is also helping keep the numbers down at the county level because officers are coming to pick up state inmates more quickly.
We are a jail, we're not a prison. We're holding them temporary, and anytime you have them released a lot earlier, then you're going to have a smaller number.
He says having a smaller population usually means fewer problems and more flexibility.
The way our facility is set up and our different pods, we can change some people around and put them in some different areas. Since we have more room, that gives us a chance to go in and do some painting and maintenance that we normally wouldn't have.
Jones says 85% of Parole to Pride participants stay on the right path and are doing well.
A morning fire destroys a building at a Pontotoc County farm. The blaze broke out around 9 at the Davis Sod Farm off Highway 15 near Ecru. A building used to store hunting supplies and sod was destroyed. No injuries were reported. Investigators are still trying to find out what sparked the fire. The business is still open. The Tupelo City Council hears from residents this afternoon about a proposal by the Major Thoroughfare Program to widen part of Jackson Street. The plan includes a center turn lane along a portion of Jackson Street. Supporters claim it will help ease traffic congestion and also prepare for future growth along the east-west corridor. Last year, a block between Robbins and Madison Streets was added to the proposal. That has caused concern among many residents of Highland Circle, Tupelo's oldest planned neighborhood. Many of those speaking at the public hearing also had concerns over what they believe is an excessive price tag for the project.
And the real problem is at Gloucester and in Jackson, at the intersection of Gloucester. They really need to listen to those of us who live in that neighborhood, who experience this every day.
There are a lot of possibilities. Right now we're just trying to determine whether we're going to recommend either of the bids that have come in on the underground utilities. The only thing that's at issue right now is the underground utilities. The asphalt has not been bid on. There's no determination or recommendation with respect to the street part. It's just the underground utilities at this point.
The Major Thoroughfare Committee is meeting at this hour. We'll have an update on this issue tonight at 9 and 10. Some Alabama residents now have access to more advanced weather warnings. We take a look at the system when we come back. Welcome back, everyone. Severe weather can strike anywhere in the Twin States, and having multiple ways to get that information is important and can save lives. Lamar County has a new weather system to help residents there. Our Stephanie Poole joins us live in the studio with more. Stephanie?
Yes, the county has been using this system for a month now, and although they haven't needed the warning, it's ready anytime. For 25 years, tornado sirens have warned people who live in Lamar County about dangerous storms. Now, the county has a new weather system to notify residents if there is a severe thunderstorm on the way or a tornado warning. EMA Director Luther Ott says there are two ways to tell them apart.
It's a whoop for a severe thunderstorm warning. It'll be a loud noise, a pause, and then another loud noise.
Like this.
And for a tornado warning, it's a continuous sound called a wail.
It sounds something like this. The Weather Alert System was funded by the Homeland Security Grant Program, costing $49,000. And it comes with a lot of bells and whistles. It's automatic. The new system is linked to the National Weather Service in Birmingham, so OTS no longer has to be there to sound the alarms manually when there's a weather threat.
As soon as National Weather Service hits their warning up there, then it goes straight through this system to our sirens.
Alerting community members up to 5 minutes faster.
5 minutes is enough time. If you don't have your own personal shelter, it gives you enough time to think about getting to a shelter that's within 5 minutes before anything happens.
OTS is hopeful that this new system will help the community get to safety quicker.
We're pretty good at warning before, but this will make us better and give people more time to get to that safe place.
OTS says he plans to test the sirens every first Wednesday of the month at 10 a.m.
You can see the shelf cloud that was moving through the West Point area about an hour ago. Wow, look at that right there. And the remnants of that approaching Vernon, Alabama right now. A live view at Durham's Pharmacy. Still some summertime storms out there. We'll have another radar check next.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
A couple more views of that shelf cloud that was moving down through. That was as it was approaching Hamilton, Mississippi and southern parts of Monroe County. Look at that. And then if you're right underneath it, it was very impressive. Again, another view from the shelf cloud, this near Caledonia just before 6 o'clock. And just see how low it is down right there near the surface. Not a tornado. It looks very spooky. I know it looks very spooky, but sometimes the bark worse than the bite. And then if you got underneath one of those heavy downpours, look at this, 2 inches of rain in just a few minutes here in western parts of Clay County. So very heavy rain with these storms. The warning, though, for Monroe has been allowed to expire. We saw some heavy rain, Smithville and Quincy areas up here by the radar site, northeast of Aberdeen. So that's where the heaviest downpours are. Some lightning thrown into the mix as well, but the wind speeds aloft really beginning to relax a little bit relative to where they have been over the last hour. The storm's producing anywhere from 0 to 1 to 3 inches of rain. So some of you got nothing so far today, but some of you really seen some heavy downpours. And mixed in with that will be some thunder and lightning. Yes, some dangerous cloudy ground lightning around Smithville and Amory right now. Back to the west here near Houston to your north now, near Pontotoc. And it's a pretty wet commute from Oxford to Pontotoc and vice versa right now. We have some low-end showers there in and around the Tupelo area at this point, and some additional cells back to your northeast here over Red Bay, Alabama. That's flaring up there right along the state line with a lot of lightning. Heavy downpours, gusty breezes, thunder and lightning, typical summer fare at this point. No active warnings currently in our viewing area. And at this point, it looks like the odds of severe weather will continue to diminish because we're getting closer to sunset. And a lot of the unstable air now has been turned stable with the storms and the showers and the cloud cover situation. So that's the big picture. Temperatures ranging from the low 70s to the upper 80s, depending on the storms. Most of the storms fade away this evening, although some of you may see a shower storm linger later on tonight. And some of you could actually dip into the upper 60s here, and that could support a little bit of patchy fog out there later on with these muggy conditions. So we'll do it all again on Tuesday. Low 70s in many spots at 7. By the afternoon, widespread 80s around here. If you missed out on the rain today, there's another chance for some rain tomorrow as these storms continue to be around the region. But a lot of this fades away by mid to late evening. We'll likely see a chance for more showers and storms during the day. On Tuesday, those will fall apart most likely during the evening hours. We'll see a few more showers and storms likely here around the region Wednesday, probably Thursday too. And then our rain chances will diminish a little bit as we get closer to the weekend. Saturday, Sunday, we're going to forecast highs back up to about 93 here with just a 20% chance of rain. Tomorrow, it's 60, 40 Thursday as far as the rain chance, 60 on Thursday, 30 on Friday. So typical summer weather here for the next 7 days.
Tom Ebel, Chris Bolton back at it again in Omaha, talking the Diamond Dogs in Omaha. We're recovering from last night.
Long night, crazy
Long night. But we'll try and make sense of this coming up next.
WCBI sports coverage of the NCAA College World Series is brought to you in part by Monroe County Farm Bureau, Jackson Square Storage, Bill Cunningham, attorney at law, and Bank First, a better way to bank. WCBI Sports with Tom Ebel is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
Baseball continuing here in Omaha, Nebraska. Tom Ebel, Chris Bolton back at it again, talking College World Series baseball. The two of us needed a little bit of time this morning getting used to
digest what happened last night. It was crazy.
Absolutely. So trying to get over the walk-off win for Mississippi State late last night. The Bulldogs scoring 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th. Marshall Gilbert, the hero, having Mississippi State advance to the winner's bracket for the 2nd straight year. They just got done with Auburn in the SEC. Another SEC foe. So now they have another SEC foe naturally to meet up with again in the winner's bracket. Vanderbilt defeating Louisville 3-1 yesterday. So that's your matchup. And head coach Butch Thompson for Auburn said after the game yesterday that he believed that Mississippi State and Vanderbilt, those are the top 2 teams in the College World Series and that they're the 2 to beat. So naturally they're meeting up in the winner's bracket, both 1-0. Chris, what are maybe some of the things you're looking forward to with that matchup tomorrow? Vanderbilt, not too many weaknesses in that lineup.
No, not too many weaknesses. I mean, you got a lineup through and through. Everybody, almost everybody that's a starter has almost 40 RBIs. 1 through 9, these guys can bat. And then you also have, tough pitching. Of course, you're going to see, Kumar Rocker.
Absolutely. And so, we caught up with the Diamond Dogs a little bit today. Speaking about Vanderbilt, they've got power, they've got contact, but the power might be coming from the mound for Vanderbilt. You touched on a little bit with Kumar Rocker. The last time we saw him, a little bit of history was made.
Yeah. I mean, Vandy's season was on the line. Just a simple 19 strikeout, no-hit game.
Light work.
Light work, I mean, this is a great guy. He's a big fella, 6'4", 245. And then coming out of high school, he was a first-round draft pick in the Major League Baseball draft. Now, in any draft, if you're a first-round pick, normally it's holla at you. It's time to go get this money.
That's right.
But he made his way. He made his way to campus to Vandy. Did great this season, and here we are.
And so Mississippi bring out Peyton Plumlee tomorrow. The Bulldogs, knowing what happened last year against Vanderbilt in the Super Regional, they're looking forward for another classic Mississippi State-Vanderbilt baseball game.
I think it's really crazy to take a lot off that game because it was 2 different starters and those starters were really good. There wasn't a lot to that game. Not a lot of offense for us, not a lot of offense for them. We've played them a lot. Our guys played them last year. We're very familiar with each other. I just think it's a brand new game. I mean, how these 2 arms run out there and pitch will be the key.
We played well, they played well. They just kind of edged us that night. But I think, we played them last year. They were a similar team as they were last year. They've just kind of grown a little bit, matured as a team. So they're really good, and they're not going to make many mistakes, so we can't either. We're going to have to be dialed in and play good baseball, and if we play good baseball, then we have a good shot.
The guy's got a very good slider. He's also got a really good fastball. Don't get me wrong, we're going to have to show up because I'm almost positive he will because, a freshman with Vanderbilt season on the line went out there threw a no-hitter in 19 Ks. That says a lot about the kid, so we're going to have to give him our best shot.
Head coach Chris Lemonis and Cole Gordon, of course, talking about the only meeting between Mississippi State and Vanderbilt this year was that 1-0, really an aberrance of a game because that was coming off the 17-inning one the Bulldogs had with LSU in the SEC tournament. But they know this team. Vanderbilt is very much like Mississippi State in terms of bringing back a lot of starters. And
they're both in the SEC. They played each other last year in the
That's
Super
right,
Regional.
and the Super Regional from last year. These are really 2 of the same, almost identical teams, and now they find themselves in College World Series. 1 win away from a catbird seat, Chris. 1-0 is the position you want to be in the College World Series. 2-0. You're looking pretty good,
You're
right?
Looking great.
And so that's a key for Mississippi State. You look at the numbers of winning game 1 for eventual national champions.
34 out of the last 38
I
champs?
believe you're right on that stat. It's a ridiculous number how important that game 1 is. So we'll see if Mississippi State can get it done against Vanderbilt tomorrow.
We'll see. I mean, they got a great chance. We got Mac. You got the rest of the game, see what happens.
We'll see what happens. First pitch coming up at 6 tomorrow. We'll have more coming up at 10. Reporting here in Omaha, Tom Ebel, Chris Bolton for WCBI Sports. A last look at your forecast next.
WCBI sports coverage of the NCAA College World Series is brought to you in part by Bill Russell Ford, Prestige Farms, OCH Regional Medical Center, Advanced Medicine, Compassionate Care, Home Store Furnishings in Starkville, and Visit Columbus, the city that has it all.
Here's our camera network. You can see no major concerns right now in most spots. However, we saw some gusty storms with some heavy downpours, Amory to Oxford and north. No severe warnings, and it looks like that's probably going to remain the case. But still some good summer storms out there. Those will fade away for the most part. We'll just keep doing this over and over again this week, Joey.
This week, the next week, all the way through September.
Hey,
right?
you know what? It's summer. This is what we can expect here.
Well, some places probably need a little rain, so it's a good thing. Thanks for joining us, everyone.